Football, rising to glory as the strongest post player. Episode 121. Klopp looked at the Manchester United starting list handed over by Boage, the corners of his mouth slightly upturned. It is not difficult to see that Li Qing's excellent performance during this period has made the always cautious Mourinho a little conservative. The formation is the most popular 3-4-3 in the Premier League in recent times. Goalkeeper David De Gea, 3 central defenders Phil Jones, Smalling, and Rojo, 3 midfielders Damian, Pogba, Herrera, and Valencia, and 3 forwards Marcus Rashford, Ibrahimovic, and Mkhitaryan. It is easy to see that Mourinho's squad is defensive-oriented. In addition to preventing the uncertainty caused by Li Qing's debut, a large reason is that Manchester United just played a Europa League 1/8 final first leg with Rostov in Russia 3 days ago, and the physical fatigue caused by the long journey is more obvious. In any case, Mourinho's starting lineup is undefeated, but the specific effect will have to wait for the game to be verified. Li Qing and the Liverpool players showed up at Old Trafford to warm up, and the stands on all sides accommodated 80% of the fans, and when the players from both sides returned to the dressing room, the stadium was full. The live director has a sharp eye. Many of the Double Red Club celebrities of this game appeared in the stadium stands. Former Manchester United meritorious coaches Ferguson, Bobby Charlton, and his wife all appeared in the stadium VIP box. Liverpool legends John Barnes, Carragher, Gerrard, and others do not have this treatment. They are sitting in the Liverpool fan area. Li Qing unhurriedly put on a grey undershirt with long sleeves, and then put on the third away jersey designed with fluorescent green and dark grey. Arnold touched Li Qing with his elbow next to him. "Li, why are you not excited at all? What's so exciting?" Li Qing was a little speechless. His face was not red and his heart did not beat. "In the future, you will find that it is normal for my brother to enter the starting list." "Brother?" Arnold rolled his eyes. "You're 3 years younger than me. Isn't strength in football? I'm much better than you, so." Li Qing bent down to put on fluorescent green ball socks, looked up and squeezed his eyebrows at Arnold. "That's right. Can you lend me your hairspray, Arnold?" Klopp explained that there was some time before the game tactics for the players to sort out their appearance, and as the stars of world football, they definitely want to leave a good image in front of the fans. Even Klopp came to Liverpool as a manager with a conscious love for his image. He used to be a manager at Dortmund. He was a big yellow tooth. Now, the whiteness of the teeth is second only to the largest white tooth Firmino in the team. In addition, Firmino's big bag still squeezed a bunch of hairspray in his hand, as if he didn't want money to wipe it on his head, until he looked at the meticulousness presented by the mirror and tapped his head with satisfaction. Li Qing took the Schwarzkopf hair handed over by Arnold, nodded meaningfully, and said, "Not bad, Cristiano Ronaldo hairspray of the same brand, I like it." Saying that, Li Qing's right hand squeezed hard, and suddenly squeezed out a large amount of gel-like hairspray. He chose to ignore Arnold's distressed little eyes. His face was not red and his heart did not jump in front of Firmino's own mirror, and wiped his hair. "Robert handsome, trouble let go, thank you." About 5 minutes later, Li Qing muttered to himself in the mirror with a look of intoxication. "You, after all, are the first manager in the Liverpool team." Poof. Ahem. Coaches Klopp, Lovren, and Firmino, who were drinking water, subconsciously spewed out a mouthful of water, and the lucky Mane and Wijnaldum reacted and dodged, and the slow Origi and Henderson were sprayed in the face. Li Qing looked at his teammates puzzled, and said innocently, "Don't you think I'm handsome, Klopp?" Boych. Other teammates. "Well, it seems that you have low self-esteem." Li Qing washed his hands, and said seriously. Everyone. Time flew by, and with 10 minutes to go before the start of the game, FA staff knocked on the door of the visiting team's dressing room to remind Liverpool players that they should go to the players' tunnel. The Old Trafford aisle is larger than the Anfield player aisle, which can accommodate the starters of both teams at the same time, and the substitutes do not stop, directly enter the stadium and sit on their own bench. Manchester United and Liverpool are international football clubs. Many players in the team are internationals. Wijnaldum and Blind are Dutch national team teammates. Minale, Origi and Fellaini are Belgium national team teammates. Milner, Henderson, Lalana, and Phil Jones, Smalling are England national team teammates. The live director connects the broadcast screen to the player tunnel and sweeps it one by one. Li Qing is the youngest player in both teams, but few Manchester United players underestimate him, because those teams that have underestimated Li Qing have been cut down. Marcus Rashford is one of the few players in Manchester United who underestimates Li Qing, known as Wonder Boy by the media. He does not want to share this title with others, and he starts this game at the same time. He wants to prove to the world media with his performance that Rashford is the real magic boy who turns decay into magic. Li Qing, who adjusted his mentality, noticed the hostility from Rashford, and he glanced at it, disagreeing. New England sports commentator Gene Xiangkai said, "Li Qing made his debut in this double red meeting. I believe that the fans in front of the TV have been waiting for a long time. you might as well guess what kind of performance Li Qing will have. Most of the last few games have been played well at Anfield. The King Power Stadium is half smaller than Old Trafford. The huge contrast will definitely have a huge impact on Li Qing. Can he turn rot into magic like the past games? Let's wait and see, Leicester Sports commentator Jean Jun said. Sky commentator Andy Gray is looking forward to it. Jose Mourinho is playing a defensive formation at home. Can an attacking trident of Lee, Sadiq and Roberto break through the Manchester United defense? Martin, what do you think? Martin Taylor thought for a while, and said in a deep voice, Manchester United's choice of defense at home is the right choice, but I don't know what the result will be. If I can beat Liverpool through a quick counterattack, I am afraid that Liverpool trident will be powerful. Accompanied by commentary from the live studio commentator, players from both sides stepped onto the pitch behind referee Oliver. Li Qing, who is walking in the middle of the team, has a different feeling. His last start was at home to Leicester City in the 5th round of the FA Cup. The only away game was to challenge Leicester City in the league, and now the starter is away to Manchester United, and there is a faint feeling of weakness in his heart. But this feeling did not last long, and the current Manchester United is not the Manchester United of the Ferguson era. The current Manchester United is not the best Manchester United of the Mourinho era. Episode 122, Beep, accompanied by a whistle from referee Oliver. The final one-quarter match of the 2016-2017 FA Cup season officially began, and Manchester United fans at Old Trafford subconsciously erupted into huge boos to the Liverpool players who kicked off. Woo 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 woo. Feeling the overwhelming booing, Li Qing raised his eyebrows. He wanted to pass the ball. He decided to give Manchester United fans a little color to see, let them know the end of offending themselves. Ibrahimovic thought that Li Qing was going to pass the ball, but he didn't even stretch his feet, so he could only watch in frustration as Li Qing walked through the arc of the middle circle of the Manchester United half and killed his own defensive half. As a 36-year-old veteran, the physical function has declined greatly. Many times the defense can only do appearance. In order to rationally distribute physical energy, even useless movements and grabbing the ball will be abandoned. He looked at Li Qing from behind, wondering how powerful this Liverpool supernova, which was called the new darling by the English media. Marcus Rashford turned a corner and cooperated with Pogba to step forward to defend Li Qing. I saw Li Qing use the inside of his right foot to snap the football to the left in advance, and Rashford, who turned from the left side of the defense, accelerated horizontally to the middle, and he raised his eyebrows with strong explosiveness, realizing that Li Qing's explosiveness seemed to be stronger. Li Qing's body kept up with the rhythm of the smash. Facing Pogba's upper grab, he used the inside of the instep of his left foot to dunk the football to the right front, and the forefoot of the landing kicked the ground, and the huge reaction force allowed him to complete the acceleration between the electric flint. Croquettes. The Liverpool fans who accompanied the team on the expedition subconsciously shouted, but they were at an absolute disadvantage in numbers, and there was no way to break through the huge boo blockade created by Manchester United fans. Rashford's eyes lit up, and without any thought, he pressed the ground with the forefoot of his left foot, stretched his right foot forward, and completed the fall and shovel with the help of the huge reaction force brought by his left foot. However, at this moment, Li Qing's right foot stepped forward, the sole of his foot stepped on the football and pulled back, and at the same time, his body took the right foot of the ball as the axis, completed a clockwise 90-degree turn, turned his back to the direction of attack, and then the sole of his left foot alternately stepped on the ball and pulled back, facing the direction of attack again. Ayo 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 ayo. The United fans who made the boos subconsciously let out an exclamation. The striker three are Marcus Rashford, Ibrahimovic. New England sports commentator Jean Xiangkai was still announcing Manchester United's starting lineup to the audience and fans, and when he saw Li Qing complete a wonderful passing move, he turned the conversation. Marseille roundabout. Manchester United left-back Damien has consciously approached Li Qing since the beginning of the game, and after seeing Li Qing use a Marseille slalom past Marcus Rashford, he quickened his pace and approached, stretched his right foot and tried to break the ball. Li Qing has a wide vision and is not in trouble. Facing Damien to grab, he unhurriedly used the outer instep of his right foot to swing the football to the right front, and the football was right against the grass between Damien's legs. Jean Xiangkai was just about to re-report to Manchester United's remaining starters, and seeing Li Qing's passing movements full of ornamental movements continued to rise, he said loudly, Damien is quick to make up for defense, but Li Qing moves faster. He passed Damien with a simple crotch, Andy Britannica, Sky commentator said passionately. The fourth. Lee gave the home team Manchester United a dismount in the opening period. Right back Alexander-Arnold quickly cuts forward and Lee forwards. Pogba's speed, height, long legs, wide vision, comprehensive technique, ability to pass and shoot. The only drawback is that the defense is not active enough. Because the game has just begun, he has a loose heart, and does not think that Li Qing will put much substantial pressure on the defense. Coach Jose Mourinho stood up before he could sit in the dugout, walked to the coaching area, and stared at Pogba with his eyes on him. As a central midfielder, not to mention defending with all your strength, at least you need to have a correct attitude, right? Herrera felt a lot of pressure. Li Qing broke through Manchester United's midfield defenders one after another. Wing Damien has not yet returned to the position. Pogba is good nature back to defense, which is equivalent to saying that he is now the only barrier in front of the three central defenders. Li Qing took the ball to an area about 40 meters away from the goal. Herrera fought and retreated. Li Qing did not give him time to think. The outside instep of his left foot pulled the ball in the middle, and the football quickly rolled to Firmino in the middle. As the only barrier in front of the centre back, Herrera had to retract into the middle. Sooner or later, there was a clear crack in the Manchester United defence. Pogba, who is capable of reading the game, realizes something, but he is still some distance from the defensive line and can only pray in his heart. Firmino took the ball one step and attracted Herrera's defensive attention and passed it to Li Qing, who inserted into the attacking right rib at high speed. It is no longer realistic for Herrera to pull back to the left rib of defense, which is equivalent to saying that Li Qing directly faces the entire Manchester United back line. At the same time, Alexander-Arnold's movement has changed from cutting in front of the right to diagonally cutting in the air behind left centre-back Rojo. Rojo knew before the game that Li Qing had a strong ability to break through, and he didn't worry much about Arnold. He mainly followed Li Qing closely with Smalling. Li Qing's left foot took the ball sideways to the middle, and Luohu followed to the middle. Herrera went all out to defend and was ready to finish defending with Smalling and Rojo, even if he fouled. Woo woo woo. Boos grew louder over Old Trafford, trying to influence Li Qing, who was inside dribbling. Li Qing didn't hear the boos from Manchester United fans at all. He just wants to help the team get ahead. With a wide field of vision, he saw Alexander-Arnold's forward thrust, suddenly pass the ball on the inside of the instep of his left foot, and the ball rolled from the right side of the arc of the big penalty area against the grass to the left rib of the box behind Rojo to defend the left rib no man's land. The on-site director quickly switched the camera, and New England sports commentator Gene shouted to Kai, Arnold. Smalling, who was dragging at the back, raised his hand to signal that Li Qing was offside, but the assistant referee was unmoved. Li Qing passed the ball very comfortably. Alexander-Arnold cut into the box at high speed, and Roberto Firmino and Maine accelerated into the box. Between the electric flint, the Manchester United penalty area became stormy. No one expected Manchester United to go through this situation less than half a minute into the game. Valencia, Phil Jones, and Smalling were completely attracted to Maine and Firmino, and Rojo had to turn to defend Arnold again, and only Herrera went to defend Li Qing. However, Li Qing's explosive power and speed were fast, and Herrera, who was already 2 positions behind, was left behind by him. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho was anxious and said, "Don't reverse the triangle." Perhaps the more afraid of something, the more it will happen. Arnold ran to complete the inverted triangle pass before Rojo fell to the ground to block. The broadcast screen quickly switched, and Sky commentator Andy Gray lengthened his voice. Fans watching the match through live television clearly saw Li Qing raise his left foot on the right side of the penalty area, and there were no defenders within a 2-meter radius of him. This, for Manchester United fans, very desperate. I saw Li Qing's left foot arch pushing hard against the football rolling on the ground, and the refracted football quickly rolled against the grass to the far corner of the goal. The center defender Smalling didn't have time to react, but subconsciously turned his head to look at the goal with the forward direction of the football. Goalkeeper De Gea, who was standing in the near corner, was very fast on the ground, but Li Qing's push to find an angle was very tricky, and the ball was fast, and De Gea could only declare that he was out of reach. The football almost clings to the left goal post over the goal line and hits the snow-white net. Who would have thought that Li Qing would have a blitzkrieg at the beginning of the game? Episode 123, Gu 1, the iconic elongated voice of British Sky TV commentator Andy Gray. Guest commentator Martin Taylor was excited. Ayo, incredible. How long has it been? Less than 17 seconds to score. Lee's left-footed push helped Liverpool lead Manchester United 1-0 away from home. Left-footed push dash. Le Sport commentator Jean Jun's mood instantly became excited. The ball is in. The ball went in. Liverpool lightning goal. Li Qing received Arnold's inverted triangle pass without stopping, and directly pushed the goal to score. 1-0. Who would have thought of the start of the double red club? Li Qing's goal helped Liverpool win a lightning start. This game is good. If memory serves, Manchester United players haven't touched football until Li Qing's goal, right? Too fast, New England sports commentator Gene shouted to Kai. Li Qing, who scored the goal, turned a corner, opened his arms, ran to Alexander-Arnold, who sent a wonderful pass, jumped directly at Alexander-Arnold, and shouted at the damned Manchester United fans. Woo 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 woo. How can Manchester United fans tolerate Li Qing's prowess at Old Trafford? The deafening boos quickly spread from the Stretford stands, where die-hard fans were, to the Ferguson stands and Bobby Charlton stands. The East Stand is an area for disabled people and away fans, and Liverpool fans are naturally unlikely to burst into boos, their hysterical shouts, but the numbers are at an absolute disadvantage, and the shouts they create are completely muffled. However, the mood of the Liverpool players was not affected, and the louder the United fans booed, the more excited they became, and Roberto Firmino even made a gesture to listen with his ears, satirizing that the boos created by Manchester United fans were not loud enough. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp thought before the game that the team would score at Old Trafford, but did not expect the goal to come so early. Excitement quickly took over the whole body, and the iconic combination was shown for the first time at Old Trafford. Just more than 10 meters away from the home team coach command area, Mourinho stood there with his mouth pursed, his eyes staring coldly at Pogba. In his opinion, the biggest hole in the team's defense this time is that Pogba, who has a lot of defensive responsibility, did not return to the defense in time, resulting in Herrera becoming the only barrier in front of the central defender. Pogba's talent is unquestionable, but what is hateful is his laid-back personality and lack of seriousness about the game. Damn it. Tong Shinbing's excited little face sitting in the Liverpool fan area was mostly red, although she is a Manchester United fan, but at this time, she is a fan of Li Qing. The goal in the opening minute was so exciting. Domestic fans even got up painfully at this time when they heard the alarm clock, and as a result, turn on the TV and there are already goals. Suddenly, the brain that was still full of sleep instantly became awake. Fortunately, the live director also gave the entire slow-motion replay of the goal. From the kickoff to the goal, it took only 16 seconds. Everyone was stunned. Too strong. Leicester sports commentator Jean June was impressed. A genius like Li Qing will only grow out of a developed football region in Europe. National fans in front of the TV and in front of the computer screen all tap their heads. This soil in China, even if there are geniuses, it will be destroyed, like the 2005 Netherlands World Youth Championship. That batch of talents, isn't it destroyed by the short-sighted club owners and football associations in China? Looking ahead, Hao Haishi, known as Asia's #1 striker, and the first defender General Fan were both ruined by the FA's rule that they could not stay in the ocean until the age of 28. Looking back to the 80s of the last century, Li Huajun, whose talent was even higher than Van Basten and Romario, was forcibly prevented by the Football Association from staying in the ocean, and finally injured Zhongyong and had to retire early due to injury at the peak age of the player. The close-up of the live director focused on the goal-scoring hero Li Qing, and Lux sports commentator Zhang Junling said, Li Qing is really a player who turns decay into magic. Football will always play a different job under his feet, from croquettes to Marseille slalom to crotch. It's really hard to imagine that this is what he made in the middle of a leisurely walk, and the next puzzle is to be handed over to Manchester United. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho frowned, a look that someone owed him $5 million, his eyes glued to the pitch. The team started to concede a goal in less than a minute, even with the toes. The rest of the game will be very difficult. Originally, according to his plan, he first held steady, and then waited for the opportunity to counterattack, but now Liverpool scored at the beginning of the game and then continued to fight back. Come on. The team is behind. Offensive? Damien is on the left, Watt does not shoot on the right, how to attack? In the end, Mourinho decided to follow the pre-match deployment and try to hold on to the existing score as much as possible, and if there is a chance to equalize, it is good, and if there is no way to score, you can only wait until the break to make adjustments. So, he picked up a pen and quickly wrote down a few lines in a small notebook. Before the start of the game, the live director also gave the Manchester United star a close-up of the face pushed, starting with Ibrahimovic, to Pogba, Mkhitaryan. Rashford is the most depressed, his downward sliding tackle looks dashing, but under Li Qing's Marseille slalom he looks very dull. Manchester United's backline conceded a goal before it directly played with Li Qing, which was extremely depressing. Goalkeeper De Gea crossed his hands at his waist and kept shaking his head. The game resumed, and Manchester United, who had the advantage of kick-off, tried to organize an effective attack, but Pogba, who was responsible for organizing the attack in tandem, noticed that the team's two wingbacks were afraid to move forward to participate in the main attack, and he immediately realized that this was manager Jose Mourinho's request that the team continue to play according to the tactics formulated before the game. However, the team is now behind, still holding a yarn? What a coach who can only swing a bus, rub. Pogba couldn't help but scold in his heart, but he didn't delay the fighter at his feet, and he went straight to Ibrahimovic with a long pass with his right foot. Lovren and Krawan sandwiched Ibrahimovic in the middle, but despite this, Ibrahimovic carried the two to complete the header. It's just that Ibrahimovic, who was under pressure from the two defenders, failed to make a difference, otherwise the ball would have threatened Minale's goal. Manchester United's attack relies more on long passes and Ibrahimovic, and Klopp has a special defensive strategy for 2 points before the game, so the visiting Liverpool are mainly away at Old Trafford. Former Manchester United star Gary Neville, who visited the BBC, frowned. Jose Mourinho is diluting Manchester United's attacking blood. Paul Pogba is born for attack. How can he defend with all his strength? Why wouldn't Mourinho want to attack? Looking at these players at Manchester United now, apart from Ibrahimovic and Pogba, where else can players take on the big role? For Mourinho, he is now a poor cook. Episode 124. Fast forward 10 minutes into the first half and the frenetic atmosphere hovering over Old Trafford waned as time went on, leaving only Manchester United diehard fans from Stretford stands shouting wildly. Old Trafford has a capacity of 76,000 fans, and the Stretford stands, which seats 17,000 fans, are nothing to the stadium. The Liverpool fans gathered in the East Stand were thrilled, and as long as Liverpool attacked with the ball, they created a high shout, which for a moment even competed with the boos made by the home fans. Mourinho, who stood in the home team's coaching area, paced back and forth with his hands behind him, looking up at the pitch from time to time, and sighing from time to time, obviously helpless to Manchester United's performance on the field, but helpless. Where's the player's ceiling there, and you expect to perform above the ceiling? The live director took advantage of the fact that the game was in a state of stalemate, gave the VIP box a close-up, and gave Ferguson and Bobby Charlton and the couple sitting together, and the fans in front of the TV could clearly see that Ferguson and Bobby Charlton had ugly faces. As the creator of Manchester United's past glory, where can you bear to see Liverpool players at home? Ferguson's greatest achievement in his life was pulling Liverpool off the throne, and now Liverpool seems to be climbing from the ground to the throne. Time is also fate. This is a word that Ferguson came up with, or he learned it in an interview with the media that year. However, the current Manchester United is not without merit, and the mental outlook has greatly improved compared to the management of Moyes and Louis van Gaal. Wish. The rest of the game was gradually finding form, beating Liverpool at home and approaching the FA Cup semi-finals. In the 16th minute, Li Qing received a football from Coutinho about 30 meters from the bottom line on the right side of the attack. Darmian and Herrera maintained defensive focus. Arnold stuck to the touchline forward, and Darmian near the wing was partially attracted by Arnold, which is equivalent to saying that the Manchester United players defending Li Qing are only Herrera and half Darmian. Li Qing raised his foot to pass the ball to Arnold, who was slowly running forward. Rashford's eyes lit up, and he wanted to complete the defense, but Li Qing seemed to have a long eye in the back of his head, and his raised left foot quickly stepped on the ball and pulled it back, and the football just got between the legs of Rashford, who was actively defending. Li Qing took a step back, raised his left foot, and directly sent a straight pass. The football rolled quickly between Darmian and Herrera against the grass, and Rojo did not dare to step forward, guarding the inside and releasing the outside. Firmino ran with an inside arc pass directly on the inside of his instep, and the ball went around Smalling in the middle and flew to the back point. Phil Jones was left behind by Maine and could only watch as he completed his bending fish leap to the top. Standing in the home coach's command area, Mourinho held his head in his hands, looking very painful, as if the end would follow. However, just then, De Gea pounced and single-handedly slammed Maine's aspiring fish over the outside of the left upright of the goal. Ayo 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 ayo. There was an instant cry over Old Trafford. Had it not been for De Gea's subconscious fastness, the team they supported would have been 2 goals behind at home. Fortunately, De Gea, who was not domineering enough, did not yell at his teammates, but just shook his head indifferently. Feeling that the reborn manager Jose Mourinho was not so calm, he rushed to the sidelines and roared at the defenders, which even the Manchester United fans in the nearby audience could clearly hear. They felt Mourinho was right to scold, but if it weren't for the lax defense, how could Maine have such a header with a chance to score? Phil Jones, Smalling, and Rojo knew the loss, lowered their heads, did not dare to refute, and vowed in their hearts that they would perform well in the next game, and not every time De Gea had this kind of divine performance. The on-site director just captured this controversial picture, and New England sports commentator Gene Shankai said in a deep voice, "Liverpool only created enough chances to score through 2 passes, and the back line is absolutely responsible, hoping to be ashamed and brave in the next game, but I don't know if the big difficulty will die, and there will be a blessing in the future." Rashford, who was worn by Li Qing's crotch, made a straight face, as if everyone in the world owed him $5 million. Perhaps spurred on by Mourinho from the sidelines, Manchester United's defenders have improved a lot in the next defense, basically leaving no big space for Liverpool players. Li Qing is very hard, helpless. Herrera's defensive small moves are very much. It is difficult to find opportunities, but he is not discouraged. When facing the Premier League #1 back, Kanté is at ease. How can he be helpless in the face of Herrera? Manchester United have not only done a good job defending during this time, but also played well on counter-attacks, and the tactics of using Ibrahimovic as a bridgehead were very successful, and it is a slight pity that Mkhitaryan and Rashford were a little hesitant at key times. The time for a high-level game often passes very quickly, and in the blink of an eye, Mourinho, who was still in the home team's coaching area, has returned to the dugout, watching the game as if it had nothing to do with him. The confrontation between Li Qing and Herrera can be said to have a chance of winning each other. Herrera limited Li Qing's play during this time, but he also suffered a yellow card in the process of defending Li Qing, which is equivalent to saying that the defense during this period can only rely on defensive skills and game experience. Li Qing, who was moving slowly, suddenly accelerated sideways to the middle, so frightened that Herrera subconsciously reached out and pulled his jersey, but thinking of carrying a card on his body, his outstretched hand did not use force, and chose to start on the spot to keep up. At this moment, Li Qing stopped sharply in place, and his body turned back. After receiving a pass from Coutinho, Henderson saw Li Qing beckoning for the ball and passed it directly. Herrera was turned away by Li Qing's acceleration and turned away from the receiving space. Marcus Rashford and Damian made up in time, and left-back Rojo's attention was invisibly attracted to Li Qing. Phil Jones and Smalling consciously leaned in the middle while defending Firmino, apparently afraid that Li Qing would be as powerful as he was at the beginning of the game. Manchester United midfielders are already few, with Pogba and Valencia both closing in the middle. Li Qing waited for this opportunity. He made a false impression to break through. The outer instep of the left foot suddenly swung the ball back, and the inside of the left instep quickly kicked towards the bottom of the football. The football rises from the ground, quickly crosses the middle of the field from the attacking right, and flies towards the left rib of the attacking side. There is the long dormant left-back Milner, who cuts forward at high speed. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho's pupils shrank sharply, quickly stood up from the dugout, looked up, and cursed in his mouth, "Damn." Before the game, he made certain arrangements for Li Qing's precise long pass transfer, but Li Qing did not sacrifice a long pass in the entire first half, so that the players on the field ignored this. What a little fox. Episode 125. Before the live director could switch the broadcast camera, Jean Xiangkai, a new British sports commentator in the live broadcast room of Old Trafford, saw it clearly and blurted out, Li Qing's long pass to find the left side. The veteran Milner plugged in at high speed. It was Liverpool's only good chance in the first half. Phil Jones quickly pulled back to the side from the middle, and Valencia gritted her teeth and ran back with the strength of milk. But Li Qing's long pass is very accurate, so accurate that it can be calculated in centimeters, which is completely consistent with Milner's running. As early as the Melwood training base, Li Qing would often pass such a wide range of transfer balls to Milner, Maine, and Firmino, and even sometimes pass the ball to Klein and Arnold in a straight line, and the precursor to each player's pass was different, so the teammates who ran were different. Milner only accelerated forward after receiving Li Qing's long pass signal. Li Qing's long pass was accurate, just in advance, comparable to Milner's speed, and he still had enough time to look up and observe the running position of his teammates during the run. With Maine and Roberto Firmino in poor position, Milner opted to meet the ball and wade into the box. Seeing that Phil Jones and Valencia were about to form a front and back pinch, the aging Milner suddenly raised his left foot to pass the ball, but instead of passing the ball to the closely guarded Maine and Firmino, but inverted triangle passing. The football rolled against the grass to the penalty spot, and Pogba subconsciously stuck to Henderson and did not give him an easy shot. Henderson, who was under pressure from Pogba's defense, was not the player to finish the final shot, and he caught the attention of almost all Manchester United defenders without hitting the goal, with one leg and the ball conceded. Mourinho, who was still satisfied with Pogba's active defense, realized something, and his heart clicked, and he said in his heart, "It's over." The football rolled against the grass to Coutinho, who raised his right foot as he ran. Because the defensive attention in the Manchester United penalty area is focused on Maine, Roberto Firmino, and Henderson, Coutinho, who should be defending the most, is in an unmarked state. For Coutinho, who often plays through the clouds, it is tantamount to a penalty. Ayo. When Liverpool fans in the East Stand saw this, they were all excited and made a loud shout to cheer for Philippe Coutinho. Woo. Manchester United fans from the other three stands made a loud boo, completely engulfing the shouts from the East Stand. Philippe Coutinho supported his left foot, raised his right foot, and hit the instep hard in the middle of the football. The soccer ball kicked out vigorously is like a spirit snake that rushes forward quickly, burrowing out of the human slit and rolling to the far corner of the goal against the ground. Manchester United's penalty area was already crowded, the Asian view was obstructed, and his iconic Guanyin sitting lotus test did not touch the football. The football quickly crossed before De Gea could reach out to block the ball, and rolled into the goal along the inside of the goalpost. The ball went in. The ball went in. Leicester sports commentator Jean Junxagao, allowing a long-range shooting master to calmly complete the shot in the penalty area is fatal. Manchester United paid for their defensive negligence. Now the score is Liverpool away to 2-0 lead. Sky Britannica commentator Andy Gray's signature elongated voice doesn't seem to need to be ventilated, and one has to admire the strength of his lung capacity. The goal conceded at the end of the first half is unforgivable. Entering the dressing room 2-0 is not as good as 0-1, and Manchester United are in big trouble at home. Standing in the home coach's command area, Jose Mourinho felt like his mentality was about to explode, telling his players every game to stay focused in 4 easy time periods when it was easy to concede. Li Qing's opening goal came at the beginning of the game, and Coutinho's goal was late in the first half, which happened to be the 2 easiest time periods to score. That is to say, conceding the goal is not a technical problem, but more a matter of attitude. Liverpool players celebrated their goal ecstatically at Old Trafford, and fans who had previously booed chose to shut their mouths, and judging by what United showed for most of the first half, it was very difficult to equalize, and even whether they could score was a big question mark. If that's the case, why bother to find yourself unhappy? Sometimes, endure it and it passes. The Manchester United players who were shown in the broadcast footage all shook their heads and sighed, and Ibrahimovic, Pogba and De Gea are the few players who can be called superstars at the moment. They all worked hard over the course of the game, especially Ibrahimovic and De Gea, who are arguably the biggest contributors up front and back. Pogba's attack does give United creativity and threat, but as a central midfielder, he is often not focused enough on defense, and sometimes it is easy to get the ball on the head, so that Liverpool can easily find a breakthrough from him. When the first half came to injury time, Mourinho walked to the tunnel early with a black face to express his strong dissatisfaction with the performance of the players on the field. Although Mourinho is not in a good mood, he still waves to Manchester United fans who pass by. While the Liverpool players celebrated their goal, the live director switched the broadcast screen, and fans sitting in front of the TV could see Mourinho's face livid as he walked towards the players' tunnel. Pogba Yuguang also saw Mourinho walking towards the player tunnel with a black face, and he scoffed, "At this tactical level, there is still a face for us to show blackface? By what?" The injury time for the first half ended shortly after United reopened, with players from both sides walking onto the pitch and fans in the audience standing up and leaving their seats. It's not that they left early, but after the first half of the game, the shouts were physically drained, and they had to catch eating during the intermission to replenish the energy lost. Those fans who remained in their seats took out their mobile phones and posted on social networking platforms such as INS, Twitter, and Facebook to share the double red meeting at Old Trafford with friends and netizens. As assistant coach Faria closed the dressing room door and the noise from Old Trafford came to an abrupt end, Manchester United players kept their heads down, afraid to touch the mold. In stark contrast to me was the away dressing room, where a 2-0 lead put the Liverpool players in a relaxed mood. The atmosphere was light and the players joked with each other. About 5 minutes later, Klopp clapped his palms, and the relaxed player looked over with a straight face. Jurgen Klopp is very pleased with the reaction of the players, and if the players can always have a good attitude, it is a sure chance that they will beat Manchester United to get close to this season's FA Cup. Episode 126. 15 minutes passed quickly after the break, with Manchester United, who were 2 goals behind at home, making the first substitution before the start of the second half, with Juan Mata replacing Damian, who had had little effect in the first half. Jose Mourinho's substitution is very targeted. Manchester United relied too much on Pogba in the first half of attack, and Mata's arrival will greatly ease Pogba's organizational pressure, but... New British sports commentator Jean Xiangkai said here, and the conversation changed. The defensive pressure brought by the removal of Damian will rise in a straight line, whether it is Mata or Rashford. The role in the defensive end is not as good as Damian. Standing in the visiting coach's command area, hands behind his back, Klopp watched United's first adjustment in the second half, the corners of his mouth slightly upturned, and a confident smile. During the intermission, I thought that Manchester United would strengthen the attack in the second half. The targeted deployment has been explained, Mata's offensive organization has a set, and the defense is... Beep. With referee Oliver blowing his whistle, Ibrahimovic kicked the kickoff to Marcus Rashford, who kicked the ball to Pogba outside the arc of the center circle. Manchester United's attack is gradual. Liverpool players do not retreat, directly press high, do not give Manchester United central defenders calmly possession opportunities. In addition to Pogba and Juan Mata's excellent technique at their feet, Herrera seemed a little underwhelmed, and he quickly returned the ball to Pogba. Li Qing and Roberto Firmino pounced on the left and right, and Pogba was blown by Mourinho with a hairdryer for several minutes during the intermission, and he was on fire in his heart. Facing the two-man grab, he chose to dribble in an extremely dangerous place. The rest of the United players saw this and opened up the receiving space and waited for Pogba to pass the ball. Copper wall iron wall card, use. Li Qing, who grabbed up, silently thought in his heart, the moment the card was used brought rich defensive experience. He deliberately slowed down the upper grab, giving Pogba the illusion that he could break forward with the ball. Sure enough, Pogba took advantage of the change in pace to easily shake past Roberto Firmino, who could have taken the opportunity to distribute the ball to Mata or Herrera to speed up the attack. But he suddenly thought of Li Qing's flower dancing butterfly at the beginning of the first half of the game, and he was also ready to have a dashing dribbling in the midfield. In the face of Li Qing's defense, Pogba repeated his old skills. In his opinion, the defense of attacking players is amateur, there is no threat. Seeing Li Qing's early eating, he used the inside of the instep of his right foot to dunk the ball to the left front. At the same time, he also found that Marcus Rashford and Ibrahimovic ran out of the air, and as long as they passed Li Qing, they could complete a fatal pass and help the team complete the narrowing of the score. The corners of Pogba's mouth rose slightly, and he smiled. He even thought about the goal celebration. But the smash on the inside of his right instep instantly seemed to feel the obstacle, and his heart clicked, and he quickly lowered his head, only to see a foot blocking there in front of the left side of the smash. This? No. Pogba is tall and has long legs, the center of gravity of the upper body has sunk on the left shoulder, the hindered right foot still maintains the original range of movement, but the upper body is affected by inertia and continues to fall to the left front. Ayo. An exclamation from Manchester United fans was instantly heard above Old Trafford. As seasoned fans, they know the dangers of Pogba conceding a goal in this position. Mata and Smalling, who are experienced in the game, subconsciously raised their hands and faced referee Oliver, indicating that Li Qing had committed a foul. Oliver, 32, who is not old but has a rich coaching experience, began to enforce the Premier League at the age of 25 and became an international referee 5 years ago, and with the announcement that Clattenburg, the head of the Premier League's 4 blind companies, will not renew his contract after the end of this season, the FA President's Referees Committee has listed him as the #1 training referee, which is enough to see that the FA values him. For this kind of rising star in the world of adjudication, can it be easy to make mistakes? Besides, his position selection is very good. Li Qing's movements are no problem, and he shakes his head during the run to indicate that there is no foul. Manchester United, which underwent a change of formation in the second half, became a scream in defense at this time. Pogba took the ball, and the two central defenders Smalling and Phil Jones both opened up to receive the ball, and Pogba stood in a triangular position, and the distance between the two was close to 10 meters, which is equivalent to saying that there was a blank space in front of Li Qing, who completed the broken ball. Firmino and Maine saw Li Qing cut off Pogba's ball, ran forward left and right, and took the Manchester United defenders as much as possible, so that Li Qing could get a one-on-one opportunity. Mourinho, sitting in the home dugout, heard an exclamation from the stands, ended his conversation with assistant Faria, and looked up at the pitch. This does not look at the unknown, look at the frightened. Pogba, who had the ball, fell to the ground, and Li Qing was rushing to the almost no-man's land with the ball. Damn it. Paul Pogba is careless. Sky commentator Andy Gray shouted. Liverpool counter-attacked. Lee took the football to Manchester United's defensive half. What a great opportunity to extend the score. Lux Sports commentator Jean Jung raised his voice. Li Qing took less than 2 seconds to increase his speed to the extreme, dribbling the ball to the huge gap exposed between Phil Jones and Smalling. Phil Jones and Smalling are not the kind of central defenders who are fast in chasing, and their diagonal straight sprint is completely inferior to Li Qing's straight-line sprint with the ball, and they can only stare at the Arabic number 55 raised on Li Qing's back during the high-speed return defense. Single knife. New British sports commentator Jean Shankai's tone was full of excitement. Li Qing came to the top of the arc of the big penalty area at high speed without slowing down, and he used his speedy speed to force through De Gea's defense in front of goal. The next thing was very simple for Li Qing. He gently pushed the arch of his left foot, and the football quickly pressed over the goal line against the grass and crashed into the snow-white net. The scoreboard shows a score that changes instantly, from 0 to 2 to 0 to 3. Old Trafford became silent between the electric flint, and Li Qing, who scored the goal, ran all the way to the corner area on the right side of the attack, facing the Liverpool fans in the East Stand, closed their eyes and stood there very intoxicated. Klopp's signature combination in the visiting dugout, with assistant coaches and bench players giving each other high fives, and Liverpool players on the pitch frantically rushed towards goal-scoring hero Li Qing. Liverpool fans in the East Stand responded to Li Qing excitedly, dancing and creating a huge roar like a tsunami. The close-up of the live director continued to explain Li Qing's slightly green and handsome face, and New England sports commentator Jean Xiangkai was ecstatic. Liverpool are visiting Old Trafford 3-0 ahead of Manchester United, although there are still 45 minutes left in the game, but I want to say that the next game will be reduced to garbage time. Episode 127. Li Qing's goal helped Liverpool lead Manchester United 3-0 at Old Trafford, and Manchester United fans in the audience allowed the emotional release brought about by the hysterical catharsis of Liverpool fans from afar. Those fans who are less receptive choose to leave early, and they express their dissatisfaction with the team in this negative way. Ferguson and Bobby Charlton in the VIP box frowned, their faces were livid. As the creator of Manchester United's past glory, looking at the current crumbling Manchester United, there is a feeling of blood dripping in my heart. Ferguson could see that there was a certain gap between the strength of this Manchester United team and the strength of his Manchester United in the past year, but he did not expect the gap to be so large. He did not think it was the responsibility of manager Jose Mourinho. 1 goal conceded at the beginning of the first and second half and 1 goal at the end of the first half. This is not a question of coaching ability, nor player technique, but attitude issues. When all the goals are conceded during the most likely times, it is easy to see that the players on the field are not paying attention. Pogba, in particular, tries to pass in succession at the back, and there is no denying that he has excellent technique at his feet, but coaches in this position tend to emphasize getting the ball early and avoiding sticking the ball. Pogba had many passes while dribbling the ball, but he didn't. Who is to blame? Mourinho, who appeared on the broadcast screen, no longer feels angry, he feels more helpless. The player's strength is already limited, and now there is a problem with the attitude. Even if they play at home, there is no hope of survival. FA Cup, it's time to give up. The league has been 6th for a long time, and in order to be able to participate in next season's Champions League, the team can only focus all its attention on the Europa League and participate in next season's Champions League as champions. Immediately, Pogba, who appeared on the broadcast screen, lowered his head, and as the first person responsible for conceding the ball, he faced his teammates facelessly. New England sports commentator Jean Xiangkai said in a deep voice, "I know why I should have today, dare to dribble continuously in the arc of the middle circle of my side. I have to think of an unacceptable ending. Manchester United are 3 goals behind at home, and the possibility of reversing to advance to the Final Four of the FA Cup is infinitely close to zero." Although the Manchester United fans sitting in front of the screen do not want to admit it, they have to say that what Jean Xiangkai said is very reasonable. The overall strength of Manchester United players is weaker than Liverpool, and they are 3 goals behind, and they have no confidence in the game, which it means rebellion without drama. The game resumed. Manchester United, who had the advantage of kick-off, failed to organize an effective attack, and Liverpool switched from defense to attack. Liverpool, who led by 3 goals, consciously slowed down the pace of attack, and the pressure on Manchester United's defenders suddenly minimized, but due to the limited ability of attacking players up front, they were never able to pose a substantial threat to the Liverpool defense. As Mourinho was determined to focus on the second leg of the Europa League 1/8 final, he replaced Ibrahimovic with Martial in the 56th minute. Compared to the FA Cup, where most of the feet are eliminated, it is obviously more important to participate in the Europa League by winning the title. Martial's appearance has brought some pressure to Liverpool's backfield defense. "Attacking this thing has always been you and me." Martial just put pressure on Liverpool through delicate foot technique, and Li Qing's fast and concise dribbling in the next round caused Manchester United players to foul. In the 65th minute, limited Li Qing to break through and received his second yellow card of the game. 2 yellows turned 1 red and he was sent off. 3 goals down, another penalty. This game for Manchester United has been declared ahead of schedule. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho did not blame Herrera. On the contrary, Herrera is the hardest working Manchester United player in his opinion, and only such a player deserves the glory of Manchester United's shirt. Not long after Herrera was sent off, Liverpool replaced Li Qing with Origi. In Klopp's view, there is no suspense in this game, and there is no need to keep Li Qing on the field. Li Qing is only 16 years old, and it is unrealistic for him to play the whole game, and with a 3-goal lead, he fears that the unbalanced Manchester United players will use fouls of a bad nature. That way, the gains outweigh the losses. Next weekend to challenge Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium, as a direct clash between the top 4 teams, it is natural to be in full force, otherwise it will be difficult to beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City away from home. Now Li Qing is already indispensable in Klopp's heart. For the rest of the game, Manchester United and Liverpool, sitting at home, scored 1 goal each, and the score was finally fixed at 1-4. The home team is in front, the away team is behind. Liverpool advanced to the FA Cup semi-finals this season. Li Qing, who contributed 2 goals and an offensive planner in this game, was undisputed to be the best on the spot, and a close-up of the live director was given to the bench. Li Qing, who high-fived his teammates to celebrate advancing to the FA Cup semi-finals, took the initiative to walk to the Manchester United bench, naturally not to show off his might, but to exchange shirts with idol Ibrahimovic. Li Qing has not only conquered Manchester United fans at Old Trafford, but also most of the players who rival Manchester United, and Ibrahimovic is one of them. "Uncle Zlatan, can I exchange jerseys with you?" Ibrahimovic was stunned for a moment, obviously a little unfamiliar with this title, but thinking that he is 36 years old this year, and Li Qing is 16 years old, the difference between the two is a full 20 years, Li Qing must be fine to call himself an uncle. He quickly took off his shirt and handed it to Li Qing with a smile. Why not? Li Qing excitedly took the jersey handed over by Ibrahimovic, put it on his right shoulder, and handed the shirt over at the same time. "Little one, are you interested in joining Manchester United?" Ibrahimovic took Li Qing's jersey and winked. Li Qing smiled and shook his head. "I am very happy in Liverpool." Originally, Ibrahimovic just asked casually, and he didn't have hope in his heart, and then he gave Li Qing a thumbs up. "Your performance is awesome, better than all of us." Pogba, who was passing by, snorted coldly, and Ibrahimovic did not give Pogba face at all, and said in front of Li Qing, "Is it so difficult to admit that others are doing well? Don't look at what you did today." Pogba, who wanted to refute, noticed that Ibrahimovic had a look of anger. The legendary 5-dan level of the judo black belt was not a waste, his body couldn't help but shiver, and he didn't know if it was too cold or how. Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho shook hands with Klopp and walked to Li Qing, ignoring Klopp's cannibalistic eyes, and directly threw an olive branch. Mourinho is one of Li Qing's most admired coaches, but he is very happy at Liverpool, does not want to change the environment in a short period of time, and decisively shakes his head and refuses. Episode 128. The image of Mourinho taking the initiative to shake hands with Li Qing was keenly captured by the live director, and Sky commentator Andy Gray laughed. "Jose Mourinho should be more than just a simple handshake, I guess. He should be like Lee extending an olive branch, it's very likely." Guest commentator Martin Taylor said, "But the specific situation depends on the analysis of lip language experts." Li Qing's refusal of Mourinho's invitation, Klopp heard it, and his heart hanging in his throat finally fell. However, Li Qing, who is under the age of 17, signed an apprenticeship contract and has no real professional contract insurance. If Li Qing signs a real professional contract, the club's liquidated damages can be raised to the hundreds of millions of euros that Barcelona has set for players to buyout clauses, and at that time, as long as the club does not let up, other clubs will have no chance to sign Li Qing. Unless, take the buyout clause and smash. However, this apprehension will continue until February next year. Klopp couldn't help but ask God, "My lord, can you make time go faster?" Manchester United CEO Ed Woodward, sitting in the VIP box, has excitement in his eyes, not because the team feels like the team loses, but because Liverpool have a super talent to tap. Li Qing is trained by Liverpool Academy of Academy, but are there still fewer cases of recruiting talents in world football today? Take Pogba, for example. Many people know him as a Manchester United Academy product, but what about the facts? He's just a product of Manchester United's academy. Li Qing is only 16 years old now, and his mind is definitely not fully mature, which means that he can be brought to the Carrington training base by small means. There are many club CEOs who have such ideas, but they have already eaten closed doors before, and Mendes, the agent who found Li Qing, is playing Tai Chi. Could it be directly to the party Li Qing? It does not seem to be in line with the relevant FIFA rules. Liverpool is good not to appeal to FIFA, but it will be troublesome if Liverpool appeal to FIFA. So the CEOs of the big clubs, including Ed Woodward, decided to go through the usual channels so as not to cause trouble. The next day, Li Qing's super performance at Old Trafford was overwhelmed, and those older Liverpool fans were relieved and proud, in stark contrast to the generation of fans who thought that there would be a Manchester United dynasty after Ferguson, and the result. It seems that Liverpool have the strength to return to the throne. In the evening, the FA Cup semi-final results were announced, and Arsenal drew Man, which means that Tottenham and Liverpool automatically drew together. Since the two teams need to draw who to play, the draw still needs to continue. Liverpool is unfortunate. The first draw is Tottenham, which is equivalent to saying that the last semi-final is Tottenham Hotspur Liverpool. Tottenham manager Pochettino couldn't help but clench his fists when he saw this draw, and he still remembers losing at Anfield a month ago, and this encounter in the FA Cup semi-finals. He is determined to lead his team to defeat Liverpool and advance to the final. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp was more depressed, thinking that the 1-4 draw for the away semi-finals would draw the home signing, but the result was still an away signing. Depressed. Not without benefits for Liverpool, with the semi-finals scheduled for 4:23 p.m. British time. According to the schedule, the FA Cup semi-final is a trip to West Bromwich Albion before and a make-up game at home to Burnley after the semi-final. Neither team is very strong, and all attention needs to be paid to Tottenham. Liverpool, who beat Manchester United in the FA Cup one-quarter match, got a day off. Li Qing did not have a vacation. He chose to take the initiative to return to Melwood training base to practice. The local media in Liverpool were very moved by Li Qing's approach, and the official account of INS of Echo said, "The football world has never lacked genius. What is lacking is the genius who pays 99% of Hans Hui. There is no shortcut to success, and the reason why Li debuted as the peak is directly related to his correct attitude day after day. Melwood's first to arrive at the training ground is always Li, the last to leave is also Li, and it is still Li who can appear in Melwood during the holidays. Can such Li not be successful? We wouldn't be surprised if Li's future career success rivals Cristiano Ronaldo and Leo Messi, because his efforts deserve it. Li Qing's talent and hard work are not black, but as long as the trolls want to spray people, there is no spray point that cannot be found, and Manchester United fans from Manchester and Manchester City fans have a rare unanimity at this time, which amazes neutral fans. However, it was relieved to think that Liverpool would be visiting the Etihad Stadium at the weekend, and Liverpool challenged Manchester City in a row within a week, beating Manchester United by a big score, which put some pressure on Manchester City fans. Manchester City fans have always thought that Manchester City is better than Manchester United, but with Manchester United's experience, they are not willing to see the team they support follow in United's footsteps. Beating the rebuilding Manchester United may not be a reference, and if you add the defeats of Chelsea, Tottenham and Arsenal, it is easy to conclude that Liverpool are not easy to mess with. Fans who have studied Liverpool's offensive tactics know that the reason why Liverpool was able to sweep away the haze at the end of January was entirely because of Li Qing's birth, contributing 5 goals and 1 assist in 3 FA Cup matches, 8 goals and 4 attacks in 4 league games, a total of 13 goals and 5 assists, which is equivalent to an average of 2.5 goals per game. Such a big contribution basically means that Liverpool are unbeaten, which explains why Liverpool have won 8 consecutive games in all competitions since the end of January. To get back to the point, the Champions League knockout rounds and Europa League knockout rounds in midweek decided the quarter-finals, but these have nothing to do with Li Qing, so let's not mention them for the time being. Manchester City are currently 4th in the league with 17 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats and 56 points from 1 less round, while Liverpool, who also have 1 less round, are 2nd with 18 wins, 6 draws and 3 defeats and 60 points, with a difference of 4 points, and this game worth 6 points is particularly important. The timing of the match scheduled by the Premier League is also very much in line with the attention of this game, and the timing is scheduled for the final game of the round. In the top 6 games of the Premier League, except for Arsenal's 3-1 upset defeat to West Bromwich Albion, Chelsea, Tottenham and Manchester United all won their respective matches. The pressure came to Liverpool and Manchester City without dispute. It's a game that no one can afford to lose. Episode 129. After 9 games in the 29th round of the 2016-2017 Premier League season, Chelsea finished first in the league with 23 wins, 2 draws, 4 points and 71 points. Liverpool, 2 rounds less, ranked second in the league with 18 wins, 6 draws, 3 defeats and 60 points. Tottenham Hotspur ranked third with 17 wins, 8 draws, 3 defeats and 59 points, and Manchester City, who had 2 rounds less, ranked 4th with 17 wins, 5 draws, 5 defeats and 56 points. In terms of points, there is no room for error for Liverpool and Manchester City, especially for Liverpool, who are already a full 11 points behind Chelsea after 2 rounds of playoff, and if they lose points in the playoff games and away to Manchester City, the possibility of Chelsea winning the league this season will be greatly increased. At that time, Liverpool will only have the FA Cup title left to compete for. But what is the FA Cup title, compared to a league title that has not been won since the Premier League's inception? If they could, Liverpool would like to win the league. Of course, there is no room for error for Manchester City, who finished 4th in the league and have already equalized points by Arsenal in the first round, and if they lose at home to Liverpool, their Champions League place next season will be in the balance. The dispute between Manchester's local pro-Manchester City media and Liverpool's local media on the internet is a replica of last week's Manchester United home game against Liverpool, and then fans joined in. 2 players from Raheem Sterling and Milner, who swapped clubs, became the media spotlight. Since Manchester City and Liverpool have no deep hatred, the two teams did not join the war of words. On the contrary, the head coaches of the two teams also praised each other and put top hats on each other, and those who did not know the situation thought that the two were long-lost brothers. Many words cannot even be listened to by journalists, they are too fake. Li Qing, as Liverpool's best player recently, naturally became the focus player of this focus battle, and the overwhelming reports made the party Li Qing a little fluttering. It is a report from China, and it has reached the point of madness. In addition to the domestic Manchester City fans can't watch it, other fans are very happy to watch, and they are all looking forward to the arrival of this game. Li Qing has already played against Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal and Manchester United for Liverpool, contributing a total of 8 goals and 2 assists, equivalent to an average of 2 goals and 0.5 assists per game against the four giants. The average contribution of 2.5 goals per game has made many fans yearn for it. Will Li Qing play well again at the Etihad Stadium? Although Guardiola is fighting with Klopp's official business, his tactics are to attach great importance to Li Qing. Averaging 2.5 goals per game is equivalent to making Liverpool invincible. How to limit Li Qing is the most important thing for Guardiola's coaching team. However, after several days of research, Guardiola and his assistants shook their heads frequently, and they realized that the team's defense was weak, and the home defense was equivalent to self-defeating. Pep Guardiola's team has always held high the offensive banner. How can a 16-year-old change his tactical intention? With a clear thought, Guardiola's coaching team has skyrocketed. Manchester City have the planet's playmaking ability in the top 3. David Shea and assist the very characteristic De Bruyne, plus top scorer Sergio Aguero. Is there a problem at home Liverpool? At 4 p.m. local time on March 19, Liverpool arrived at the Etihad Stadium in eastern Manchester by bus. Compared to Old Trafford, the stadium, built in 2000, has a more stylish design. Manchester City fans and Liverpool fans are only in competition, and there is no historical feud between Liverpool and Manchester United, and home fans rarely booed Liverpool players on buses. Through the car window, Li Qing saw Manchester City fans holding up signs on the outside of the Etihad Stadium saying that Liverpool beat Manchester United. Manchester City fans are really interesting. Arnold laughed. We don't have a grudge with Manchester City, so we're friendly, but waiting for the game to start will definitely be treated differently. Who puts us higher than Manchester City? In any case, the only one who wins is Liverpool. Li Qing withdrew his gaze, his fists naturally clenched, and his fighting spirit was high. Arnold looked at Li Qing enviously, and his eyes lit up when he suddenly thought of something. Li, you can score as many goals as you can. Why? Arnold said with a smile, seal the win early, maybe I will have a chance to come off the bench. Li Qing rolled his eyes, virtue. The Etihad Stadium is only a decade old, the design is in line with modern standards. The stadium has been expanded in recent years by UAE boss Mansour, and the away team's dressing room has been upgraded, adding to the experience of Liverpool players. The 55,000-strong Etihad Stadium was packed an hour before the start of the match, with Manchester City fans in sky blue shirts and Liverpool fans in red shirts. As this is Manchester City's home stadium, there are far more Manchester City fans wearing sky blue shirts than Liverpool fans. Meanwhile, the coaches of both sides got each other's starting list. Guardiola frowned, and Klopp had a smile on his face. Manchester City now have a good lineup in addition to the midfield, and the midfield is somewhat potholed. In particular, the two fullbacks were 32-year-old Chrissy who started at left back, Fernandinho who played at the back and Yaya Touré who played at the back of 34. Centre-back Otamendi is often rash and Stones is too young, a defensive system that Klopp sees as difficult to contain the attacking quartet of Maine, Roberto Firmino, Li Qing and Philippe. Seeing Manchester City's attacking system, Klopp raised his eyebrows slightly, and Manchester City's defensive players were pitted, and his side was no better. In addition to Matip's relative reliability, Klavan and Klein have seen a serious decline in form this season, and if Arnold and Gomez were not too young, he would have wanted to use young players. Time flew by, and in a blink of an eye, it was the eve of the start of the game. The players from both sides walked to the players' tunnel one after another, the substitutes went straight to the pitch and went to their respective benches, while the home team players stayed in the players' tunnel and waited to enter. The two teams have many national team teammates, each greeting each other. Li Qing has not been selected for any national team, he looks a little bored, so he turns his head and greets the caddy. Hey little brother, how old are you? The caddy rolled his eyes and said expressionlessly, 13 years old, so small? Li Qing was surprised. The caddy said speechlessly, you were only 16 years old, but you were only 3 years older than me. Li Qing then remembered that he seemed to be this age, laughed, and the palm placed on the top of the other party's head also moved. Episode 130, Liverpool and Manchester City are in direct competition, and the live DJ read the name of Liverpool's starter, and the Etihad Stadium burst into a huge boo, giving it to the Liverpool players. It's a treat that every away game gets, and Liverpool players are used to it. When the live DJ read Li Qing's name, the boos from the Etihad Stadium were greatly enhanced and deafening. Li Qing was speechless and said, "The Luan family is still just a minor. Do you want to do this to me?" The on-site director just gave the broadcast footage to Li Qing, and Jin Xiangkai, a new sports commentator sitting in the live broadcast room of the Etihad Stadium, smiled and said, "The Etihad Stadium seems to be not very friendly to Li Qing, and the boos are much louder than other teammates, but from another point of view, it is a kind of jealousy of Li Qing by Manchester City fans, who made him score goals in the past." Li Qing, who had a dark belly in his heart, had already turned his grief and anger into a desire to score, and he decided, "Help the team win the game." The live DJ read Milner, who wore the captain's armband on his left arm, and Li Qing was surprised by a thunderous applause over the Etihad Stadium. But on second thought, it's no surprise that Milner moved to Manchester City in the summer of 2010 until his departure in the summer of 2015, winning 2 league titles, an FA Cup, a League Cup and a Community Shield. Milner has worked hard during his 5 seasons at Manchester City, and fans see that his departure is not for a better future, but because City are reluctant to offer a generous contract extension to a 30-year-old. There is a classic saying in world football, so get together and disperse. Beep. With the whistle of referee Michael Oliver, the final match between Manchester City and Liverpool in the 29th round of the 2016-2017 English Premier League season has officially begun. Sergio Aguero kicked the football placed on the tee spot to Raheem Sterling, and the live commentator Kim began to explain, "Manchester City at home is wearing a traditional sky blue shirt and white pants, attacking from the left side of the broadcast screen to the right, and the visiting Liverpool wearing a traditional red shirt and red pants, attacking from the right side of the picture to the left. The weather in Great Britain is very erratic and it rains a lot, and some people say that no rain is complete without being in Great Britain, and this highlight battle at Manchester's Etihad Stadium is a veritable rain battle. Fortunately, the rain is not heavy, and the players on both sides will not slip when running, otherwise the focus battle arranged for the last game of the round will be greatly reduced." Manchester City apparently learned from Liverpool's last knockout of Manchester United at the start of the game, and the attacking choices were gradual. Due to the excellent technique of Manchester City's players at their feet, the effect of high pressure that Liverpool is good at is not obvious, and Klopp waved his hand and signaled the players to return to their own 40-meter area to defend. Manchester City's 2 players in this game, Sane and Raheem Sterling, are very fast and have good skills on their feet. Leaving too much space behind them is not conducive to the team taking away from home. Li Qing's defensive task is the smallest in the Liverpool team, and he only needs to stand up during the defense. His teammates ran without hesitation. Li Qing saw it, but he was well aware of his responsibility. The 2 teams that are also strong and weak in attack are definitely not defensive ability, but attack. Standing in the home team's coaching area, Guardiola is wearing a warm trench coat, a bare head with a hat, half of his face tightly circled by a black bib. Accustomed to the warm sunshine of Barcelona, Spain, he is obviously not used to the cold English weather, only showing 2 heavy big eyes. The team took the initiative, he could easily see it, but as the formation moved forward, the space exposed behind him was getting bigger and bigger. Li Qing's average of 2 goals and 0.5 assists per game in the past few games is like a thorn hanging in the throat, which is very uncomfortable. Unless the team can score first, everything is in vain. Guardiola turned his head to look at the visiting coach's command area. Klopp was wearing a heavy black hooded trench coat, staring at the court with eagle-like sharp eyes, the corners of his mouth rising from time to time, and a winning expression. Time passed by, and Pep Guardiola's fears were gradually dispelled by his side's successive attacking shots. Sergio Aguero, Sane, Raheem Sterling, and Kevin De Bruyne have all had successive shots on goal, and if it weren't for Minale's help, his Manchester City would have opened the game. The rain gradually had a tendency to fall heavier. Light rain turned into moderate rain. Li Qing, who was acting in defense, felt a hint of coolness. He clicked in his heart, and said in his heart, "If you don't run more, I'm afraid you will become the first professional player to catch a cold in the excessive rain on the court." Li Qing increased the range of running, trying to warm up the cooled body as much as possible, so as not to wait for the next sprint to strain the muscles. 2 minutes later, the game came to the 16th minute of the first half. De Bruyne ran to see Aguero run and passed a powerful straight ball. Central defender Klavan extended a kick at the crucial time, and the football was kicked by him to the center circle of the Liverpool half. Central defender Stones kept the ball directly to Yaya Touré in front of him, and David Silva, who was about to receive Yaya Touré's pass, appeared in the afterlight of a player wearing a Liverpool shirt and blurted out, "Yaya, be careful, Yaya Touré has a lot of experience in the game, and he is often accustomed to observing left and right before receiving the ball, so that he will not panic because of the opponent's grab at the moment of receiving the ball. According to memory, behind him was Roberto Firmino stepped forward to interfere, but David Silva suddenly reminded loudly that it was likely that there were other Liverpool players on the side and back, and in order to avoid mistakes, Yaya Touré passed the ball to Otamendi, who pulled the catch angle with his back to the attack. Li Qing, who was running at high speed, turned a corner and rushed to the left-back Otamendi, who received the ball, without slowing down. Yaya Touré didn't pass the ball with much power, but the ball had a noticeable acceleration running on the water-filled grass, and Otamendi chose to raise his foot to stop the ball to be on the safe side. When he looked up again, his little heart was about to jump out. Li Qing, who was more than 5 meters away from him just now, actually appeared in front of his eyes. Distance, no more than 2 meters. Is it so fast? Otamendi visibly panicked, and he quickly kicked the ball towards right-back Stones with the arch of his left foot. Li Qing, who was running at high speed, saw the opportunity and sharply extended his left foot, and Otamendi's hasty pass just touched Li Qing's extended left toe, and refracted towards the arc of the center circle of the local half. Aoaoaoaoo. The sky over the Etihad Stadium resounded with exclamations from Manchester City fans.